the eve of senior year, my best friend stole my identity to have a cyber romance with the academic genius, even promising to meet at the summit. Afraid of exposure, she broke up with the genius before the college entrance exam. She even made a brazen demand: as long as you skip the exam, I won't break up. As a result, the academic genius rejected early admission for love, only to be used by my best friend as bragging material. I was just kidding, who knew he'd take it seriously? The academic genius had a mental breakdown and committed suicide by swallowing pills. To shirk responsibility, my best friend not only leaked my personal information but also incited netizens to cyberbully me. I was stabbed 18 times by self-proclaimed righteous netizens and died tragically at my doorstep. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day my best friend high-profile announced her relationship. "Karen, you're actually dating Liam," Tiffany exclaimed in the dorm room, looking enviously at Karen's social media account post. Karen ignored her surprise and urged me to quickly like her post. Looking at the handsome and sunny selfie in her social media account, I gripped my phone tightly. In my previous life, she had high-profile announced her relationship in her social media account, vowing to meet her boyfriend at the summit. I recognized Liam's identity and frowned deeply. "Liam has early admission to State University. Aren't you afraid of affecting your studies by dating him now?" Karen misunderstood that I was jealous of her, and her face darkened. "He rejected early admission for me, of course, I will study hard for him too. It's just State University, I can get in easily if I want to." Looking at the A paper with 300 points on Karen's desk, I just thought she was daydreaming. But out of best friend affection, I still chose to help her achieve her wish. I not only urged her to study hard every day but also racked my brains to sort out various problem-solving ideas for her, just so she could understand. Finally, when the results of the last mock exam came out, she barely crossed the first-tier university admission line. But Karen was afraid of being exposed after getting into the same university, so she broke up with Liam on the eve of the college entrance exam and made a brazen request. "As long as you are willing to skip the exam for me, I will get back together with you." On the day of the college entrance exam, Liam skipping the exam became well known. Karen even used this as bragging material, mocking Liam for being pathetically stupid in front of us. I was just kidding, who knew he would take it seriously? As a result, Liam had a mental breakdown under double blow and committed suicide by swallowing pills. And I, who knew nothing, became the culprit, betrayed by my best friend and spurned by everyone. Even when I was stabbed 18 times by self-proclaimed righteous netizens and died tragically at my doorstep, Karen was still defend the murderer. "Ashley was wrong first, you can't blame the murderer." Seeing that I hadn't responded for a long time, Karen impatiently pushed me. "Ashley, you will bless me, right?" I said coldly, "Dating is your business, does my blessing mean you'll have a baby soon?" Hearing this, Karen's face immediately turned ugly. She pouted and looked at me with tears in her eyes. "We are good best friends, I just want to get a blessing from you, is that wrong?" Before I could speak, Tiffany immediately turned her dissatisfied gaze towards me. "I can't believe you're Karen's good best friend, and you can't even fulfill such a small wish." "Karen, ignore her, I support you. Liam is so amazing, he will definitely get you into State University easily." As she spoke, she glanced at me strangely. "When the time comes, let some ungrateful people be envious and jealous." Tiffany pulled Karen to sit on the bed, gossiping about her and Liam's love story. Listening to their whispers, I couldn't help but sneer in my heart. After Liam committed suicide by swallowing pills in my previous life, Tiffany took the lead and became the main force to fire at me for fame and fortune. She used her roommate status to spread rumors and slander me. After I was killed, she was even happier exploiting someone's tragedy for personal gain. Not only did she publicly praise the murderer for doing the right thing, but she also claimed that I was killed because I deserved it. Tiffany stepped on me to reach the peak of her life, gaining both fame and fortune. Karen also relied on using me as a stepping stone for others to trample on and successfully got into a top-tier university. Thinking of this, my resentment towards them deepened. Why should I be a stepping stone for others to trample on, and why should their perfect lives be built on my pain? Karen suddenly patted my shoulder and asked me for photos. Ashley, send me a copy of the photos we took last week. I want to post them on social media account. In my previous life, because I didn't like taking selfies, Karen tried every means to get me to take various group photos. Afterwards, she would ask me to send her a copy. Out of trust in her, I sent all the original photos to her, letting her handle them. But this also became Karen's best evidence to slander me. I smiled and agreed, cropped all the group photos, leaving only Karen, and sent them all to her. Karen listened to the frequent notification sounds on her phone and smiled happily. The next second, she suddenly rushed to me with her phone, questioning me with a ferocious look. Ashley, why are there only photos of me? Where are yours? I looked at the book in my hand, not even giving her an extra glance. This is my privacy, it's normal for me not to want to give it, right? Besides, why would you put my photos on your social media account? Are you dating for me? Karen took a few steps back in surprise, and breathed a sigh of relief when she saw that my expression was normal. She pretended to be calm and raised her voice. Ashley, what are you talking about? Never mind if you don't want to give them. Tiffany, who was washing up, leaned out and looked at me, saying vaguely with foam still in her mouth. Ashley, who do you think you are, hiding your photos like you're some kind of beauty? And Karen dating for you? Take a look in the mirror, who would be interested in you? They'd rather like Karen. The moment Tiffany said this, Karen's face turned visibly ugly. I almost laughed out loud. For Karen, who was impersonating me, these words were no different from stabbing her in the lungs. Tiffany was still being unreasonable, accusing me of being delusional. I think you're just jealous that Karen found such a good boyfriend. I snorted coldly. It's hard to say whether this Liam is real or not. Didn't someone in the class next door use other people's photos to deceive people before? Can you guarantee that Karen hasn't been deceived? Tiffany sneered, saying that I was cursing Karen to be deceived. Karen also looked at me with heartache. I treat you as my good best friend, why don't you believe me? I'll call Liam now, you should believe me now, right? Before Karen could call, her phone rang first. Karen turned the phone screen towards Tiffany and me, and Liam's name was clearly displayed on it. I told you Liam is my boyfriend, Ashley, you believe me now, right? She cleared her throat and answered the phone. On the other end of the phone, Liam's deep voice came out. Honey/babe, I'm coming to your school in a few days to participate in a competition, let's have dinner together then. The next second, Karen's face changed drastically. Before she could turn off the speakerphone, Tiffany immediately complained to the other end of the phone. Someone suspects you're a fake Liam, and thinks you've deceived Karen, don't you have something to say about that? Liam promised with a smile, you are Ashley's roommate, right? I'll treat you to dinner then. When Karen heard Liam's address, she immediately turned off the speakerphone and quickly walked to the balcony. I heard Tiffany mutter in a low voice, why does Liam call Karen Ashley? Doesn't Karen feel weird hearing that? Seeing Tiffany turn around and go to the bathroom to continue washing up, I quietly walked behind Karen. Through the not-so-soundproof glass door, I could vaguely hear what she was saying. Karen responded to Liam hesitantly, saying that she had a skin infection recently and was embarrassed to see him. I want to look my best for you, of course. I watched coldly as the shyness and nervousness on her face alternated. Maybe Liam promised something, and Karen's expression visibly relaxed. She spoke in a delicate voice and acted coquettishly with Liam, we agreed to meet after the college entrance exam, you can't go back on your word. Seeing that Karen was about to hang up the phone, I said dissatisfied. Karen, are you so unwilling for us to see Liam? We are good best friends. Karen was startled by me, and the phone fell directly to the ground. Without giving her time to react, I pretended to be indignant for her and accused Liam of being bad. Why does Liam call you Ashley? He can't even get your name right. What qualifications does he have to be your boyfriend? It's okay if people know you're his girlfriend, but if they don't, they'll think you're a mistress. Karen hurriedly picked up the phone from the ground and glared at me fiercely when she saw that the phone hadn't been hung up. She pushed me away with force and explained to Liam on the other end of the phone in a low voice. Liam's voice resounded throughout the dorm room. I know someone is jealous of honey/babe, I won't take it to heart. Tiffany, who had finished washing up, gloated on the side. Some people think they can sow discord in other people's relationships, but they didn't expect to lose out instead. I glanced at her coldly, ignoring her. I was curious about how Tiffany and Liam would react when Karen's identity was exposed. Since Karen and Liam started dating, Tiffany had been instructed by her to publicize it in the class. But during Liam's competition, Karen didn't mention Liam, and even got angry whenever someone mentioned her relationship with Liam. Tiffany complained in a low voice, "It's obviously a good time to meet up in person, why does Karen want to keep a low profile?" I sneered in my heart, of course, the fake one wouldn't dare to see the real deal. I was extremely looking forward to the moment when Karen's disguise fell off, but I didn't expect that what came earlier than that was me meeting Liam. When I saw two familiar figures under the academic building, the blood in my whole body seemed to freeze. I felt like I was back when I was stabbed 18 times, the pain of each stab was unforgettable. I used to think that I was stabbed 18 times by self-proclaimed righteous netizens before dying tragically at my doorstep. But the nightmarish face standing next to Liam slapped me hard in the face. Could it be that even my death was in Karen's plan? When Liam saw me, his eyes lit up and he quickly ran to me. He smiled brightly. "Ashley, didn't you say you were sick and hospitalized? Why are you still at school?" Liam put his arm around my shoulder and introduced me to his classmate. "Justin, this is my girlfriend Ashley." I stared straight at Justin's hand behind his back, and only felt relieved when I saw that he didn't have anything in the hand he used to greet me. Liam patted Justin's shoulder. "If you hadn't introduced Ashley to me, I wouldn't have such a good girlfriend." I looked at Justin sharply. He was looking at me with a half-smile. A chill ran through my heart. Did he and Karen know each other a long time ago? Seeing that I didn't react, Liam frowned and reached out to touch my forehead. "Ashley, are you okay? Do you want me to take you to see someone?" Listening to his words full of concern, I suddenly shook off his hand and took several steps back. I clenched my palms tightly and questioned Liam, pretending to be calm. "Who are you? I don't know you." Liam thought I was just being angry and coaxed me helplessly. Seeing the confusion on my face deepen, he realized that I wasn't faking it. His face was full of hurt. "I know I didn't keep our promise, but don't you recognize me? I'm Liam." Seeing that I reacted when I heard Liam, he looked at me expectantly. I frowned. "Aren't you Karen's boyfriend? Even rabbits don't eat grass near their own nests, I won't be a mistress." When Liam heard me say this, he thought I was still unwilling to recognize him. He anxiously took out his phone from his pocket and showed me his chat history with Karen. His tone was almost collapsing. "You were still acting coquettishly with me last night, why are you unwilling to recognize me today?" Looking at the social media account avatar and name that were exactly the same as mine, I simply took out my phone, opened the social media account QR code, and gestured for Liam to scan it. He was a little confused, but he still did it. But as soon as he scanned it, I was clearly on Liam's social media account list. Justin frowned and righteously accused me. "Liam is really unlucky to have a girlfriend like you. Do you like having a single persona so much? You can't even recognize your own boyfriend." Liam also looked wronged and said affectionately, "Honey/babe, if you want to have a single persona, you can tell me. I'm willing to do anything for you." Justin continued to sarcastically say that I was acting one way in public and another in private, so I simply snatched his phone, opened the message box, and turned the screen towards Liam. The message box was empty. Liam held my hand tightly, his emotions were on the verge of collapse. "Honey/babe. You're lying to me, right? Don't be angry with me." Seeing that he still didn't give up, I directly used his phone to make a voice call to Karen. The call was quickly connected, and Karen's nervous voice rang out. "Liam, didn't I say I didn't want to disturb your competition, why are you calling me?" I raised my eyebrows, looked at Liam, whose face had lost all color, and said faintly, "Karen, your boyfriend is not good, he can't even tell who his own girlfriend is." Karen's reaction speed was extremely fast, and her tone was disapproving. Liam is not your bragging material, nor is he your toy, you can't just push him to others. Ashley, you really disappointed me, I didn't expect you to not even dare to admit your own boyfriend. I was so angry that I laughed. I don't have the hobby of snatching my best friend's boyfriend, I still have a sense of shame. Justin sneered, his tone full of mockery towards me. You pretend to be single at your own school, but you hook up with people from other schools, your calculations are so obvious. Karen also echoed his words, pressing me step by step. Seeing that Karen still wanted to continue to cling on, I said coldly. Since you insist on saying he's my boyfriend, then I'll just break up with Liam directly. Karen screamed, and the "no" she had just shouted was cut off directly by me. The result was already self-evident. I looked at Liam's face change several times, suppressed the schadenfreude in my heart, and looked at him with contempt. You can't even recognize your own girlfriend, I don't think you're sincere to Karen either. Justin suddenly spoke, his words full of protection for Karen. Liam, don't listen to her nonsense, who would date while impersonating someone else's identity? I think it's because she doesn't abide by women's virtue and is too timing, that's why she doesn't dare to admit it. Justin's words gave Liam hope, and he looked at me expectantly. I smiled at him gently, but the words I spoke were extremely cruel. Everyone in our class knows you are Karen's boyfriend, do you need me to take you to prove it? Justin curled his lips and stopped Liam, who was about to move. Who knows if you've colluded, we won't fall for your trick. Liam was also wavering between me and Justin, he didn't know who to believe. At this time, Tiffany walked over from not far away with a book in her arms, and when I saw her, I knew that Karen's impersonation of my identity and dating Liam was about to be confirmed. I silently counted down in my heart, waiting for her to attack. As expected, as soon as I finished counting the last number, Tiffany couldn't wait to attack me. You wouldn't compare yourself to Karen even when she's dating, would you? Karen is dating Liam, do you think you can find someone better? Don't embarrass yourself here. She sized Liam up and down for a long time, her eyes narrowed slightly, and she cursed at me. Ashley, don't you have any shame, you even want to snatch Karen's boyfriend. I can't believe she still treats you as her best friend, I've never seen a best friend like you who rushes to be a mistress. Tiffany's hand was raised high, heading straight for my face. I slapped her hand away and looked at Liam coldly. Do I still need to prove it to you now? Liam was a little dazed, he actually understood that what I said was true, but he was just holding on to a glimmer of hope, hoping that it was all fake. He didn't dare to guess whether what was hidden behind the screen was sincerity or pretense. After Liam apologized to me in a panic, he pulled Justin and fled. Looking at Liam's figure, I couldn't help but wonder how Karen would justify this lie. Or would Liam pretend to be stupid and pretend that nothing had happened? As soon as I returned to the dorm room, Karen knelt down in front of me with a thud. She cried and said, Ashley, if you like Liam, I'm willing to give up. But why did you seduce Liam behind my back? Karen's voice was so loud that students from several nearby dorm rooms poked their heads out to watch the show. I tilted my head to look at her, and said mockingly, didn't you say Liam is my boyfriend? What business is it of yours how I am with my boyfriend? Karen cried even harder, and Tiffany pulled her up and protected her behind her. I saw you hooking up with Liam with my own eyes, dare you say it didn't happen? Looking at the smugness flashing in Karen's eyes, I chuckled. Seeing is not necessarily believing, how can you be sure that what you know is necessarily true? Hearing this, Tiffany laughed loudly. You were almost glued to Liam, what other reason could there be besides you intending to seduce him? Karen weakly defended me, saying that I definitely didn't mean to. But Tiffany poked her forehead, saying that she was really kind but misguided. Karen kind? This is truly the biggest joke I've ever heard in my life. Listening to Tiffany's confident words, the onlookers mocked and ridiculed me one by one. Some people's paranoia is really serious, they spend all day fantasizing about their best friend's boyfriend. If I were you, I would quickly kneel down and apologize to Karen. I really don't know how your parents taught you, raising such a shameless daughter. Hearing them mention my parents, the anger in my heart was instantly ignited like dynamite. In my previous life, Karen posted a long article accusing me, and my dad used his unskilled handwriting to argue with the netizens who were scolding me in the comments section one by one. When Tiffany slandered and spread rumors about me, my mom clarified for me in front of relatives and friends who looked down on me. Even when netizens cyberbullied me and harassed me, they didn't vent any dissatisfaction on me. My parents even knelt in front of Liam's parents for me, begging for their forgiveness. Even though they knew it wasn't my fault. At the thought of them waiting for me to come home, only to find my corpse at the door, my hatred for Karen grew even more. Looking at Karen, who was crying like a pear blossom in the rain, I said in a strange tone. It's really miserable to be your best friend. Not only do you have to guard against people impersonating your identity, but you also have to guard against you turning around and blaming you. Karen shook her head, her whole body retreating backwards. Tiffany frowned and pointed the phone camera at me. Ashley, don't try to scare Karen, I'm filming your every move. Karen was afraid that I still had tricks up my sleeve and repeatedly advised Tiffany not to make things so ugly. Tiffany pushed me out of the dorm room, and the door was slammed shut. She shouted loudly through the door, "You can only come in when you are willing to apologize to Karen." I looked at the shaky wooden door and kicked it open directly. Tiffany and Karen looked at the door that was kicked open in stunned silence, and I smiled evilly. Sorry, I will never learn to apologize to Karen in my life. My actions brought Karen and Tiffany a period of silence. That night, Karen gave Liam a good explanation, and Liam seemed to accept her explanation. The two were still sweet and affectionate, talking on the phone for several hours every day. And Karen's grades also declined again and again, from the initial barely a paper with 300 points to now barely passing 200. Tiffany also kept saying to Karen's side all day long, "Liam will definitely get you into state university, Karen, you don't have to study." Karen, who originally had some fighting spirit, completely degenerated. Tiffany often mocked me, but faced with my indifference, she became a lot quieter instead. I also took advantage of this time to frantically absorb knowledge. After all, the law that they are quietly planning something will never fail. As expected, when there were only 30 days left before the college entrance exam, I was called to the office by the homeroom teacher for a talk. The homeroom teacher gestured for me to sit down with a serious expression. "The college entrance exam is imminent, and you're still dating, do you even want to go to college?" Seeing that my confusion didn't seem fake, his expression softened slightly. "Someone said online that you're playing with other people's feelings and causing their grades to drop. Tell me, did you do that?" I subconsciously retorted, but the homeroom teacher didn't completely believe me either. The other party described it vividly. "If you really didn't do it, then quickly clarify. The college entrance exam is imminent, don't affect your grades, and don't affect the school." As soon as I came out of the office, I immediately opened the trending searches. The account accusing me looked unfamiliar and wasn't Karen and Tiffany's account. I found clues from his previous social media account posts. The person accusing me was Justin. I opened his social media account post, which was full of accusations that I was playing with Liam's feelings, and also emphasized that Liam was a senior in high school with excellent grades. She has a single persona at school, and she sends all kinds of flirting messages to my brother online, but she refuses to admit it even when she's caught red-handed. I really admire a certain Ashley's thick skin. She even threatened her best friend to act with her, just to maintain her single persona. High school academic genius plus scumbag playing with feelings, it was like two shining signals, attracting netizens from all sides to judge. Playing with feelings at such a crucial moment in senior year, she's trying to ruin the other party's future. Maybe she thinks that as long as the other party's grades plummet, she'll have a chance to get into college. Bitches who play with other people's feelings should all die. Although he didn't explicitly say my personal information, netizens are not vegetarians, and they easily locked onto me with a few vague pieces of information. And Liam was pitted by everyone and became a perfect victim. Especially after the news that he rejected early admission for love was revealed, I became even more of a sinner. Self-proclaimed righteous netizens dug up my various social media accounts, launched crusades against me under my social media accounts, and frequently sent me harassing text messages, insulting me in various ways. I also had difficulty walking at school, missing backpacks, desks full of graffiti, and occasional pranks were all silent protests from my classmates against me at school. Even the homeroom teacher advised me to go home and rest for a while, saying that it was safer to review at home. Karen naturally saw the trending searches, and she came to comfort me hypocritically. I believe you're not that kind of person, Ashley, time will prove everything. Turning around, she used the name of her best friend on social media account to nail this crime to me. I repeatedly advised Ashley not to do this, but she insisted on going her own way. Love is not her capital to show off. I really can't agree with her behavior, so I chose to stand up. Tiffany, envious of Karen's soaring number of fans, made the same choice as in her previous life. She tried the waters on social media account with my roommate status. Ashley not only plays with other people's feelings, but also snatches her best friend's boyfriend. This one social media account post directly gained her hundreds of thousands of fans. Countless netizens asked for specific details in the comments section, and even marketing accounts wanted to interview her. Seeing that the netizens' curiosity had been aroused, Tiffany slowly released the specific details. In less than a minute, the number of reads and reposts of this social media account post had exceeded 10,000. Tiffany tasted the sweetness, and for the sake of fame and number of fans, she began to slander me even more. She slandered me until I was full of scandals, but she wasn't satisfied. She simply used her roommate status to directly spread rumors about me. Cheating and being a mistress were all trivial matters in her mouth, and she even described vividly how I had an abortion for a certain man. As if I had really done such a thing. All of a sudden, I became a rat crossing the street, hated by everyone. Walking on the street, I was cursed as a bitch in person, it was routine on the bus, and there were even men who came up to me and asked how much I charged for a night. Anyway, you've been slept with, it's not a big deal to sleep with me, right? I didn't stop Tiffany's malicious rumors, but instead added fuel to the fire for her rumor-mongering cause. After all, I didn't just want her to be detained so simply. Soon, Tiffany rose to the ranks of 1 million followers by slandering me. A large number of businesses sought her cooperation, and I watched as her breach of contract penalties reached a point where she couldn't afford to pay them. I printed out those social media account posts that Tiffany had made and slapped them down in front of her. Tiffany stubbornly refused to admit it, and Karen pretended to be ignorant. She patted her chest in front of me, guaranteeing that Tiffany would never be that kind of person. I looked at the two of them, colluding together, and laughed in anger. Since you don't want to admit it, then wait to sit in the confession chair. With that, I slammed the door and left. As soon as I entered the classroom, the head of the department called me away. He frowned, blaming me for not considering the overall situation. The school has decided to give you a major demerit and expel you. With less than a month before the college entrance exam, expelling me now was no different from ruining my future. I looked coldly at the head of the department, who was sitting with his legs crossed. Did you even bother to check if the facts are as they are online? The head of the department looked disdainful. Don't you know the saying, flies don't bite seamless eggs? If you hadn't done anything wrong, why would people say that about you? Seeing how young you are, you're already a habitual liar. It's bad luck for our school to have a student like you. I felt a chill toward the school. From Justin's accusations onward, they never thought about protecting their own students. All they cared about was protecting the school's reputation. I directly called the police in front of the head of the department, saying that someone was maliciously slandering me. Since they weren't willing to clear my name, then I would do it myself. The police arrived quickly, and the head of the department followed them with a fawning smile. This is just a small matter, we already have a resolution at the school. With tears in my eyes, I clearly explained my recent experiences and handed over all the evidence I had collected to the police. The head of the department pretended to be a good guy on the side. If you had told the school earlier, we would have naturally found the students who spread the rumors and restored your innocence. There's no need to make such a big fuss, or you won't even be able to take the college entrance exam, right? I snorted coldly. If they really wanted to find out the truth, they wouldn't have expelled me as a result, trying to suppress the matter. The threat in his words was palpable, and the police frowned and warned the head of the department. We will thoroughly investigate this matter, but your school can't just expel students at will. After all, they are college entrance exam candidates, and their bright futures can't be ruined by something whose truth is unknown. Because there was sufficient evidence, Karen and Tiffany were quickly taken away by the police during class, and I went to the police station as a victim to await the results. As soon as I entered the police station, Liam's mother rushed up to me and slapped me hard. She looked at me with a ferocious expression. "You caused my son to lose his early admission, his grades have plummeted, and his future has been completely ruined by you. Because of you, my well-behaved and sensible son attempted suicide and is still lying in the hospital unconscious, boo-hoo-hoo." I was a little surprised. No wonder I hadn't heard from Liam recently. I thought his grades had declined severely and he had become just another face in the crowd. I never thought that he would actually attempt suicide. Karen's body stiffened when she heard the news, but her expression relaxed. After all, the only person who could prove that she was impersonating me was still unconscious, so her chances of winning were much greater. After understanding this, Karen pointed at me with heartache. "Ashley, Liam attempted suicide for you. Aren't you willing to let him go?" I sneered, shaking my head, and looked at Karen with pity, who was still trying to struggle. "Did you think that just because Liam isn't here, I wouldn't be able to clear my name?" I opened a video on my phone, watching Karen's next expression with great interest. The time I met Liam, Karen's words of accusation against me were transmitted from the loudspeaker and flowed into the ears of everyone present. Karen's face turned from red to white, her eyes filled with horror and disbelief. She pushed Tiffany away with force, lunged forward, and knocked the phone in my hand to the ground. She shouted in despair, "This is all fake. You are Liam's girlfriend, you are the culprit who caused him to attempt suicide." Seeing that Karen still wouldn't shed tears until she saw the coffin, I took a deep breath and played the recording that I had never heard before. This recording was sent to me by Liam the day after I met him. It not only contained Liam's apology to me, but also a confession. I thought I had exchanged my sincerity for sincerity, but what I got in return was hypocrisy with a mask. "In fact, from the moment you didn't recognize Justin, I believed that you weren't my girlfriend." After all, Justin swore at the time that the person he introduced was his childhood sweetheart. What I didn't expect was that I had become Karen's capital to show off. I'm such a joke. I was a little surprised. Justin and Karen were actually childhood sweetheart. The previous guest finally had an answer. It seemed that in my previous life, I was stabbed 18 times by Justin and died tragically at my doorstep, which was really planned by Karen. As soon as Liam's recording came out, Karen couldn't refute it anymore. She was the murderer who caused Liam's suicide. Liam's mother's eyes were red and swollen and was held back by the police, fearing that she would rush over and tear Karen to pieces in the next second. The sewage on my body was completely washed away, and Liam's mother apologized to me repeatedly, saying that she had wronged me. I didn't forgive her, just like they didn't want to let my parents go in my previous life. Under the police's questioning, although Justin confessed, he still refused to reveal Karen behind him and took all the responsibility alone. He and Tiffany were sentenced to 3 years in prison for defamation and slander against me, which constituted the crime of defamation and was serious. Most of Karen's crimes were borne by Justin, leaving only a few minor slanders, which at most would result in a week of detention. The school's actions were swift and decisive. Not only were Karen and Tiffany expelled, but the demerit on my record was also cancelled. The police also announced the whole truth of the incident online. The netizens who had originally attacked me turned their backs one after another and scolded the three of them with the same rhetoric. I couldn't help but find this farce ridiculous. Everyone was waving the banner of justice, doing things that could kill innocent people. And those contracts that Tiffany had signed before were now turned into sharp swords, stabbing at her one after another. All the merchants demanded that she compensate for the breach of contract, which added up to at least 3 or 4 million. I watched with satisfaction as each of them received their due retribution, when suddenly there was a cry of surprise beside me. Liam is awake? I'll be back now. I looked at Liam's mother, who ran away from me in a hurry, not knowing whether Liam's awakening was good or bad for them. After the last exam, I walked out of the examination room with a sigh of relief, my fingers aimlessly sliding across the screen of my phone. The top trending search suddenly caught my eye. High school student Liam fell to his death on the day of the college entrance exam. The cause of death was initially determined to be homicide. I clicked on the video and saw Liam's parents crying over his body, his mother even fainting. There was a line of small print on the video. It is understood that Liam originally wanted to take his girlfriend Karen with him to die together, but she was killed by her. And Karen's photo was also placed in the video as a criminal suspect. As soon as I put away my phone, I saw Karen, wrapped up tightly, standing not far away in a daze. The moment she saw me, she rushed up to me and grabbed my neck with her hands, muttering, "Why did you have to tell the truth? Wouldn't it have been better to take all the blame for me?" The candidates screamed when they saw this, causing Karen to become even more nervous. Perhaps it was the tension of just killing someone, but I was able to break free from her restraints very easily. The security guards who came after hearing the news also pinned Karen to the ground. The moment her hat fell off, the surrounding people gasped, and all kinds of whispers entered my ears. Before she was taken away by the security guards, I leaned close to Karen's ear and smiled wantonly. "Since you want to use me as a shield, you have to bear the consequences." Because I was a victim, I was also called by the police to make a statement. As soon as I came out of the office, Liam's mother rushed into the interrogation room angrily. I turned to look inside and saw Liam's mother taking out a knife hidden in her sleeve and stabbing it straight into Karen's abdomen. "You pay for my son's life. If it wasn't for you, he wouldn't have died." In just half a minute, Karen was stabbed several times in a row. I looked at Karen lying in a pool of blood, without a trace of sympathy. If she had been in love with Liam seriously, instead of using him as a capital to show off, perhaps she wouldn't have ended up like this. The moment I stepped out of the police station, I saw my parents holding flowers waiting for me at the door. I showed a big smile and threw myself into their arms.